Good evening, everybody. This is Matt Kelly with Fathering Together. We are waiting on our guest this evening, Luke Chitwood. He's one of our contributing authors. There's Luke. How's it
Hello,
going?
doing well.
All right. So I've got the broadcast going on Dads with Daughters, watch party going on Dads with Sons. If you want to share a watch party on like your page or something, you can go and do that. We will get rolling in just one moment. Let me pull up one more thing here. How's it going tonight?
You're good.
Yeah,
You're
good.
good. Do you prefer Matt or Matthew?
Either way works. Matt,
Oh,
just Matt, it's cool.
okay.
There we go.
No, I haven't.
How's your family hanging in with the all the quarantine and everything?
We're doing all right. Yeah, we moved in the midst of this, so
Oh
settling
boy.
into a new place. Glad that's done.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Where'd you guys move to?
Still in Chicago. We were like the move was a total of like 9 blocks, so
Oh, okay,
same
gotcha.
neighborhood we've been, but
Yeah,
a a good bit of an increase in space, which is nice.
that is good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially when you're home as much as we all are, having some space
Right.
is a very positive thing.
Yep, it's been nice. Feels like our only um, change of scenery possibility. So
Seriously, right? Okay, let me be ready to go in just about a minute here.
of an increase in space, which is nice.
That is good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially. Yeah, I'm getting some delayed something or other.
Hmm. Okay. So do you share from? I haven't used this platform before. So you share from here onto Facebook, or how does that work?
Yes, yeah, it's a broadcast platform
Okay.
that Brian and others use. So we've chosen to do this for the interview format because it allows us to shoot it straight to Facebook and then have watch parties on the other pages so folks can find it. Um, we are in the midst of making a YouTube page where we're going to archive all this stuff too.
Nice.
So, all right. Okay. It's 9:30. Ready to go?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Matt Kelly with Fathering Together. I'm one of the co-editors of Fathering Stories Volume 1, and tonight we're talking with Luke Chitwood, one of our contributing authors. This is a book that is available through Amazon and Barnes & Noble and anywhere else you can get ebooks. It's only $1.99. I know you're going to be inspired by the stories that Luke and others have to share. This interview is going live on our Facebook pages, so if any of y'all are on there, please feel free to put questions or comments in the chat so we can check that out and respond to you guys a little later in this interview. Luke, welcome. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right, Matt. Thank you.
Good being here. So,
Yeah.
Luke, first, I'm sorry?
Oh, just thanks for having me. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, we're glad you're here. Thank you for your contribution. So, first, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Cool. Yeah. I am a writer and consultant currently, live in Chicago. Originally from Little Rock, Arkansas, with some stops in Oklahoma and New York City along the way. And I've worked in education and college access, nonprofit management before going out on my own, starting my own business and focusing on writing for just right around 2 years now. Um, and I'm the father of a almost 3-year-old and a another one that's going to join us in about 6 weeks or so.
All right, good for
Mhm.
you. Yeah, it'll be different giving birth while this whole pandemic thing's happening.
Yeah, we've gotten a little insight into that. Thankfully, it seems like the period when like partners couldn't join in the hospital at all. Like that's not the case anymore. But
Right.
it does seem like it
That's
will
good.
still be an extra weird experience.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Tim Cox's chapter in the book, he writes about that very thing because his son is a little less than 2 months old, and I mean, wearing masks during the labor and all the crazy
Mm.
stuff. It was quite a journey they went on, and I hopefully now our sense of what they're going to do for you guys. But so Luke, what led you to write the story that you shared in this particular book?
Yeah, I first wrote a draft of what became this story probably at least like 2 years ago, after my
Mm,
daughter was around a year old. And initially, mostly just to process it for myself. Like my wife had a pretty harrowing delivery experience, had
yeah,
uh, preeclampsia turned into eclampsia, and then had some rarer syndromes pop up on top of that.
yeah,
Um, so thankfully, she and our daughter both perfectly healthy, and we left um, the hospital after a weird and scary week.
mm,
And no ill effects for either of them. Yeah, but there was a lot that I experienced, and a lot that my wife and I experienced differently. She has like no personal memory of like a couple hours before birth until about 12 hours after our daughter was born. So there were times where we were talking with doctors or with other people, and pieces of the story would slip out that, or like I would be recalling things that had happened to her that she didn't even remember.
mm.
So yeah, it was a way for me to process it myself, but also um, in a way to share it with her, because we did not share the labor and delivery experience in the way that we thought we would.
Right, yeah. And you're speaking about very calmly now, but in your piece, I mean, you really, well, some little distance will do that. But you really bring us into the sense of just chaos and oh my God, what's happening? These are the most important human beings on earth to me. What's gonna? I mean, it's just it really. We were there with you in the room just as we read the story. So I really appreciated the way that you told that, and that actually makes sense for you to say how you're processing it because it's all out there on the page. It's really incredible. So Luke, can you tell us what is your favorite thing about being a father and the hardest thing about being a father?
Yeah, I think on the favorite side of things, I love, um, especially in the past year or so, um, just seeing my daughter's brain develop, seeing her like unique personality play out. Obviously, I love like playing and interacting with her, but I really enjoy like when I'm in the room and she gets so engrossed in something, um, and she's just fully engaged, like almost oblivious to my presence, and talking to herself, playing with something, making up a game. Yeah, just getting that like very intimate window into another tiny person like growing up is pretty incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
Um,
Well, I mean, what's the hardest thing about being a dad?
um, yeah, the hardest thing I think, uh, like to some extent, when I got married, like I experienced like my time not being fully my own, to a lesser extent, but then um, just like to such a greater degree that that was the case as soon as my daughter was born.
Yeah,
And I was like kind of in the aftermath of the experience that I write about. Like my wife and I both needed lots of mental health help afterwards, and
sure.
that for me included getting diagnosed with ADHD.
Mm,
I think a lot of that, like the reason that it finally like came to a head or was significant enough that it was diagnosed, was just adding the needs of a tiny human. And never before
yeah,
in my life had it been like, did my whole day depend on like whether something happened within 5 minutes, or like I hadn't had to think of
Yeah.
my schedule that way before, but
Yeah.
suddenly every moment is complicated
Yeah.
and feels crucial in a different way.
Yeah. Being a dad has got a way of sort of laying bare all of our stuff, good,
Hmm.
bad. Otherwise, I think this pandemic time as well is doing that to us. Show, okay, what do we got? What's how are we strong in certain ways we didn't know? Where are some areas that it's not so great?
Yep.
It's very revealing in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
So sometimes it's sometimes it's like looking in a mirror that we don't want to look in. That's definitely happened to me, both with
Yeah,
being a dad and this particular pandemic time.
agreed.
Yeah. So Luke, you're obviously a part of the Fathering Together community, a very large online community we've curated, both for dads with daughters, now dads with sons. Um, just what reflecting in your experience being part of the Fathering Together community, what have you really gained from that, or what's been some of the benefits for you?
Sure. Yeah, I feel like there are some like broad scale benefits or ways that I've interacted with the very large community, and then like some very micro level um,
Mhm.
benefits as well. Like I guess I'll start with the micro level. I live in Chicago, and I'm near Brian, one of the co-founders of the organization,
Mhm.
and I've gotten to know him and an in-person group of dads that meets up that is part of the much larger community. Um, but it was like I have friends who are also fathers, but it was the first way that I got connected, like specifically with people based on my identity as a dad.
Mhm.
And I have found that like really rewarding.
Yeah.
It's uh, it's great to get to share that with other guys. And as soon as we're hanging out, like getting to share stories, and there's a great level of shared experience and understanding
Yeah.
that
Sure.
we know is there because of like why we're joining the group. So I really
Yeah.
appreciate that. And then on the large level, it's really fascinating to see people all over the country and all over the world just processing the I would say lots of posts are really high highs and really low lows of fatherhood.
Hmm.
Just getting to see people um, be vulnerable in a large community and get support from others is
Yeah.
encouraging to me for sure.
And guys are often not as good at doing that in general, that emotional connection. And so that's been a really incredible thing about the Father Together communities is guys can come and be like, y'all, I'm struggling, or I don't know what to do, or um, again, particularly during this crisis, it's been trying on people's mental health. And I've had a lot of conversations on the page and then privately with guys who, I mean, they're spiraling.
Mm.
And on the one hand, you hate to see it, but on the other hand, it's like, wow, I'm so glad these folks felt safe enough to come to
Mhm.
this space and go, hey, I need help. Um, that messiness almost shows we're doing something right.
Yeah,
Um,
I absolutely agree.
yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna click over to the Facebook pages here and see if we've got any questions or anything. Luke, is there anything else you want to kind of tell us about your piece, your contribution, what you shared in the book?
Um, let's see. Yeah, I hope it comes across that um, like I very much don't see myself as the hero of the story. I'm um, a helpless observer dragged along for most of it.
Right.
And yeah, I would hope that that is communicated. I got to share it with my wife a couple times and make sure she was comfortable with what we were sharing because it's very much her her story too. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, I think that's it. I, I'm excited to share it with the Fathering Together community. It's something that close friends and family know for sure.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's a big part of who we are as parents, and I'm glad to
Sure.
be able to get it out there.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. I don't feel like any dad in those representing this book came off as thinking they were an expert on anything. It's actually
Hmm.
just tremendous, kind of humility and hey, here's part of my story here. So anybody that's watching on the pages right now, please feel free to put in any questions or comments about Luke's piece or anything else we've been doing. We'll give you all just a moment to do that. So Luke, your background is in higher education, correct?
Hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
secondary and higher
Uh,
education. Hmm.
okay, and you're an independent consultant now for
Hmm.
you said college access.
Yeah, so I worked as a counselor in New York City after being a high school teacher for a bit, and then
Mm,
um, worked for a college access program here in Chicago.
okay,
So a lot of my clients and people I'm collaborating with are still in the access and success space, helping get
great.
students to and through college. And then I'm also working with other education and nonprofit organizations, focusing on helping them tell the story of what they do.
That's great. That's a increasingly more difficult world for everybody as far as competitiveness and even affording it is kind of nuts. My
Mhm.
oldest is 11, and so we're very deep into the whole saving for college thing, and just looking at price tags and projections and things like that is a little daunting. So I'm
Yeah,
glad there are people like you out there that can help walk the rest of us through this, because it's slightly intimidating to
no,
say the least.
it's a very complicated process, and
Yeah,
even working in it regularly, like it changes very quickly. It's very different
sure.
from when I went through it as a student a decade
Yeah.
ago.
Are
Um,
a lot of institutions now, are they kind of scrambling to kind of figure out what to do in terms of fall semester and things like that?
oh, very much so. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
um, very complicated question that universities are trying to answer right now. Um, yeah, they shifted to like pretty much every campus shifted to being fully online very, very quickly.
hmm,
And knowing that like replicating the exact quality of what's happening in the classroom is going to be difficult with a shift like that. Um,
hmm,
but they know that to keep their students and professors happy and learning, like things will have to be smoother in the fall. But with so many
sure.
unknowns related to the pandemic, it's pretty tough to plan for that.
I
Um,
bet. Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, like I said, my oldest two are elementary school age, and their teachers have pretty much had to make this stuff up on the fly because everything just screeched to a halt before they knew
Mhm.
it was happening. So some other parents being very critical. I'm just going, guys, they're pulling this out of thin air. Okay, the very fact that they're
Mhm.
giving our kids stuff to do every day so we can work is pretty amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, the only comments we're seeing are just hello, hi, how's it going? So thanks for those that are out there checking in. Luke, can you share your website, your social media handles, things like that?
Yeah, it's all pretty um, simple and uniform. My first name is Jeffrey, so everything is J. Luke Chitwood.
Hmm.
Just my name. That's the Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. There's a one at the end because I didn't get there first. And then my website is jlukechitwood.com. So,
Awesome, awesome.
yeah.
And what sort of things do you write about on your website other than fathering, or is that mainly your focus?
No, it's mostly more related to my consulting work.
Okay.
But I have a number of impact stories where I am helping celebrate um, just good work that other organizations are doing. I do that on a pro bono basis for primarily for organizations I know in the Chicago area. Um, but that's a way that I get to know potential collaborators and get to hone my craft as a writer and celebrate that good work. That's really what led me to transition into doing this full time. Um,
Great.
I'd rather do that
Well,
than send out a bunch of emails.
awesome. Well, Luke, thank you for the great work that you're doing in general, for the window you gave us into your daughter's birth story, and blessings on your next one coming along in just a few weeks. Hope that goes well and hopefully a little more smoothly than the last time.
I'll take that.
And thank you for your contribution to Fathering Stories Volume 1. Again, for all the folks out there, you can purchase this book through Amazon, Barnes& and Noble, anywhere else you get ebooks. It's $1.99. Great Father's Day present for you or any of the dads in your life, just to share in the lives of these other dads and see all that's going on and all that we all go through. As different as we are, there's a lot of commonalities to being a dad. For all those that do get it, we would also love for you guys to write a review, particularly on Amazon, so other fathers can know about this collection of story. Hope everybody has a happy Father's Day. And Luke, thank you so much again for being with us tonight.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you. And y'all take care.